Group of Interest 1, B.B.A.R, Backrooms Bureau of Administration and Research. The only way we can find that exit is if we maintain law and order. We will find stability through governance and safety through regulation. Alexander Robinson, the director of the B.B.A.R. Goal and ideology. The B.B.A.R, aka Backrooms Bureau of Administration and Research, is a governmentalist and federal organization formed by various former Federals, bureaucrats, politicians, and other volunteering intellectuals. This group believes that the only way to achieve universal unity, peace, and stability is to establish laws and a government to maintain security and vigilance among all the wanderers of the backrooms. They're a very moral, absolutist organization with goals to impose ethical responsibility and guidance on all. Just like other groups, they are very keen on exploration and research. Being one of the leading groups in this, the structure of the B.B.A.R is remarkably complex, consisting of multiple different branches, leaders, sources of income, and initiatives. Since their recent growth in members and resources, the B.B.A.R has started publicly showing itself to wanderers and has already attempted to establish a few laws. These are laws such as the prohibition of memory juice and weaponized objects like rickshaw gas. Despite their efforts, most of the attempts have failed and were simply ignored except for the weaponized object prohibition, which, in some way, has gained support from various wanderers. Aside from administration, the B.B.A.R seems to have an interest in the study and research of the backrooms to the point of having their own classification system. They classify their levels as RAS, Registered Anomalous Zone, followed by their corresponding number. For objects, they are required as RAI, Registered Anomalous Item, also followed by their corresponding numbers. Then there are entities that are classified in the same way as the other two, and they're named RAE, Registered Anomalous Entity. The B.B.A.R prides itself on the wonders of the backrooms and spends the majority of its budget and funding on this research and exploration. Resources. Their power in terms of resources is still unknown, but due to their growth of members, businessmen, and a live presence, it has been assumed that they're in a stable position. They seem to have high amounts of paper and documents, which could suggest that the B.B.A.R has a presence in one or more forest-like levels. Apart from that, many wanderers who have visited the B.B.A.R have noted that the B.B.A.R has a suspicious amount of technology and electronics. If this is true, it warrants the possibility of the B.B.A.R having trade relations with Backrooms Robotics or having secret operations not yet known to the public. Bases. General Headquarters. The General Headquarters is located in Level 11 and is known as a sort of symbol of the B.B.A.R. The building is categorized as a large, concrete, and brutalist freestanding building with a unique architectural style that has brought fame to the organization. Formerly a bank building, the building was claimed by the B.B.A.R and renovated accordingly. Now, the building consists mostly of office spaces and meeting rooms, along with the stage for speeches and announcements. This is the main base of the B.B.A.R and where you will most likely find Director Alexander Robinson and the other top executives. The B.B.A.R building is open to visitors, however some rooms are still off limits. You can find the building by walking 8 kilometers southeast of Level 9's entrance to Level 11. B.B.A.R Institution of Research and Technology. B.B.A.R Institution of Research and Technology is located in Level 11 and is another brutalist and architecturally unique building. Unlike the headquarters, this building is known to be a lot more mysterious and secluded. A radio communication blockade signal has been deployed on the premises, therefore making it impossible to intercept and eavesdrop on any operations. Additionally, the B.B.A.R shares no information regarding this building except for the name. From this name, it's assumed that the building consists of laboratories of some kind used for research, innovation of new technology, and possibly operations for the investigation-type section of the Field Agent Branch. One of the 3 sections of the Field Agent Branch. On the outside, the building seems remarkably small, which has prompted many theorists to predict the existence of an underground network. Only a handful of field agents, workers, enter and exit the building per day, contrasting the hundreds of entrances and exits that take place in the headquarters building. Due to the mystery revolving around the building and its operation, it's being heavily monitored by spies from unspecified organizations. The B.B.A.R. has shown no acknowledgement or concern for these bias. Leadership. Director Alexander Robinson. Director Robinson is the current leader and founder of the B.B.A.R. His beliefs in the union of the Backrooms through the creation of a government pushed him to create the B.B.A.R. Through a lot of effort, he managed to unite wanderers who were once Federals, bureaucrats, and politicians in the front rooms. Being a former diplomat himself, Director Robinson is highly skilled in persuasion, building relations, and crisis management. Apart from that, not much is known about him, as he's often not seen. According to members of the B.B.A.R., he's an inspirational and motivational man who can boost the morale of any worker, and is willing to do everything possible to make his group achieve success. However, a more legitimate and official statement has yet to be made. Branch leaders. These are the leaders of the different branches of the B.B.A.R. Magnus Anderson, Office Branch Executive. Richard Lawson, Ethical Committee Executive. Thelonious Stratton, Field Agent Branch Executive. Jonathan Wright, DPC Executive. For more information, see the branches section below. Branches. The B.B.A.R. structure seems to be a strange mix of governments and the front room's famous FBI structures. Although not all positions are known to the public, from what is known, the B.B.A.R. is divided into 3 distinct branches. Office Branch. The first and main one is the Office Branch. This branch is responsible for all the documentation, law writing, external affairs, and general administration of the B.B.A.R. Members of the Office Branch are always assigned to work at the headquarters and never receive any tasks or missions that have to do with combat, exploration, etc. Superintendent Magnus Anderson is one of the most intimidating members of the B.B.A.R. and is therefore the leader and supervisor of the Office Branch. He was the head of operations of an insurance agency and a political party member in his time in the front rooms, and is therefore exceptionally skilled in management. Members describe him as fierce, strict, and ambitious leader who always pushes members to exceed expectations. Sub-Branch Ethical Committee. The Ethical Committee is a board of 16 members that stamps and approves the laws suggested by the Office Branch. Since all of the Ethical Committee board members do many of the same tasks such as other Office Branch members, along with their responsibilities in the Ethical Committee, it's considered a sub-branch. The Ethical Committee is also tasked with evaluating violations of these laws and determining punishments, which is the main task of the committee due to the high number of violations. Being a member of the Ethical Committee is a senior position for a regular Office Branch member, and promotions to this committee are possible. Executive Richard Lawson is the executive of the Ethical Committee, and is often described as a friendly but strong leader. He presents himself as forgiving, amiable, and a warm individual, but he is extremely strict on rule violations, having been a judge in the front rooms. Richard Lawson does not tolerate any misconduct and is very fierce in his punishments. This leads to many saying he shows a different side of him during rule violation discussions. Nonetheless, Executive Lawson is one of the most admired and respectable executives at the B.B.A.R. Field Agent Branch. Their second branch is the Field Agent Branch. Members who join this branch receive the rank of Field Agent and are then assigned to a section, which is a team of between 6 and 10 members, depending on the type of section. There are 3 types of sections. The Research Type section, identified as RS followed by a number, is tasked with studying objects, levels, and in some cases, entities that are discovered by other sections. Then there's the Exploration Type section, identified as ES followed by a number, which, as the name says, explores different levels across the Backrooms and documents everything they find. Finally, there's the Investigation Type section, identified as IS followed by a number, which performs secret missions to investigate any threat to the Wanderer population or the B.B.A.R., suspicious activities from other groups, and others. Executive Thelonious Stratton, being an analytically and strategically gifted individual, is the executive and organizer for the Field Agent Branch. In his time in the front rooms, Executive Stratton was an international master, IM, in chess and a university psychology professor. Explaining his incredibly observant and intelligent character, members have described him as a genius, brilliant strategist, and stern leader, intellectually unrivaled within the organization. His job is to manage, oversee, plan, and ensure the success of all field agent branches, and his success in this has been a major contribution to the B.B.A.R.'s rapid growth and dominance. ES-11. Exploration Section 11 is the leading field agent section. It was formed by 6 curious field agents who built a strong bond of friendship between themselves. This section quickly outclassed other sections, having been responsible for the discoveries and registrations of many levels, objects, and entities. This, along with the stories of their awe-inducing discoveries, has made them famous among the field agent branch. However, their sense of independence and their risky explorations have raised suspicions among some higher-level staff. Dark Phoenix Company. The third branch is the Combat Branch. This branch is currently entirely a PMC, private military company, named DPC, aka Dark Phoenix Company, created by the B.B.A.R. in response to a crisis of resources they had, which almost resulted in the disbandment of the group. They accept contracts given by other groups or certain people, and perform them in exchange for resources. The amount depending on the difficulty and/or importance of the contract. Aside from being used for commercial gain, the DPC is also used for the defense of the organization. No serious threats have emerged yet. The DPC's soldiers wear black and gray colored improvised military uniforms as well as their equipment. They are known to train in open spaces such as Level 10, and it has been allegedly leaked that they're developing some sort of military technology, but this is unconfirmed. In terms of skill and professionalism, they are in constant training, thus making it safe to say that they are not easily fought off in a battle. General Jonathan Wright is the leader of the DPC and is responsible for managing the company and the contracts it receives. He's serious and goes to the point with his easy control of every situation and effectiveness, making his leadership worthy to follow. Being a military general in his time in the front rooms, he is highly skilled in military commandment and evoking loyalty and devotion in others. To his success, the soldiers have collectively expressed their respect for him and their approval of him as their general. Helen Guardian Longwood is the best performing soldier on the team, being effective in combat against entities and hostile enemies. She saved her team numerous times from catastrophes. What am I saying, bro? From catastrophes, earning her the nickname Guardian. She isn't very talkative and only responds to General Wright when he directs her. She isn't very social, but she still has earned a lot of respect from her teammates.